Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So today we're going to talk to you about the best way to store your guitars when they're not in use. Also the safest way. Now, some of the stuff also goes depending on what kind of a heating system you have. So let's start with the worst possible. So if you have in-floor heating, which is a great heating system, you definitely do not want to be storing your guitars in their cases. Reason why is you're going to cook them. Heat rises, right? And hence in-floor heating. So if your case is on the floor, okay, whether it's up against a wall on an angle or in your closet or laying down flat, you're basically slowly cooking your guitar because you're drying it out severely, okay? So if you have in-floor heating, cases are just not for you. So moving on to guitar stands, okay? Again, bad idea. Heat's rising, your guitar is out in the wide open, it's very close to the floor, therefore you're now drying out your guitar like crazy. Again, no matter how well you humidify the house, you're going to dry that guitar out. It's because it's so close with the body to the floor, you're not helping the situation. So what's the best way? Well, on the wall, okay? At least 3 feet off the ground level of the floor, okay? Mine are all sitting about 3 feet or a little over 3 feet from the floor level, depending on the length of the guitar, of course, right? And that's actually ideal, and I found it to be extremely ideal, and I've had it like this for quite a long time now. I've had absolutely zero issues with my guitars doing it that way. Now, before I hung guitars up in this room, I had them on stands. And I would also have to lay down a carpet under the stands so that I could kill off a lot of that heat coming off the floor right directly underneath my guitars. And of course, humidifying the house is also a really good idea. So in the winter time, or colder temperatures, cooler temperatures, you're going to want to add humidity. And of course, in the cold temperatures, cold temperatures, you want to add the humidity. Warm temperatures, you want to remove the humidity. So summertime, springtime, bit of the fall time, you want to remove humidity. Now, your ideal humidity, of course, is between 40 to 60%. I wouldn't go anywhere near 70. I had this room at 70 the other day, and it was borderline clouds and thunder and lightning in here. I mean, it was a rainforest, right? So 70 is really pushing it. However, because of in-floor heating and because of the climate I'm in, and my in-floor heating, of course, I'm right on the basement, right? So I'm ground level, so I've got concrete underneath and, you know, type of thing, and concrete underneath that. It's a little different system, right? So our humidity has actually dropped down into the 20s before. And to get it up even into the 30s is a challenge. So what we did was we decided to go with a cool mist humidifier and a hot mist, okay? And these have to run 24 hours a day in the winter time, okay? Now, my heat in this room is 25 degrees right now, and I'm at 41% humidity. I'm pretty much borderline. You do not want to drop below 40%. Because this is when things start to dry out. You're going to get fret sprout going on because your neck's going to shrink, your body can warp and twist, and your top can definitely sink in and twist in different areas. And you're going to know this because your guitar is going to say, hey man, I'm way too dry. You know, you ever notice, you know, if your bridge is starting to lift, that's usually because the top has moved in the wrong way, and there's a lot of tension between your bridge and the headstock, right? Especially on acoustics, there's a lot of tension there, okay? A lot more than even electric guitars have. So there's a lot of pull, and you're talking about a thin wood top, right? And so when your top starts to dry out, it'll start to twist and move around and even suck inward, which means your action's going to lift up higher. Your guitar is just way too dry. And to correct that problem, most of the time it can be corrected by some very, very fast humidification processes and letting things move back out. Okay, and Taylor actually has a video on how to actually straighten out cracks in tops, but it'll also do a lot to try and repair as best as possible all that twistage and warpage. If it hasn't gone too far, you should be able to fix it. If it's gone way too far, forget it. At that point, fire pit, okay? But you won't know until you try. So, what I recommend is for those with in-floor heating, number one, you put them on the walls. Number two, climatize your entire house so that your guitar doesn't have to reacclimate from room to room, right? So leaving the door to your studio open, good idea, or even having a smaller humidifier in your studio or jam room or man or woman cave, whatever it happens to be, okay, very ideal. Now I don't have one in here. What we do is we have a cool mist in one corner of the living room. We have a hot mist right in the center of the main opened area because we have open concept area in here. And between the two of them pouring at almost full blast, it keeps the entire house within 2%. So all the rooms are actually 2% higher than this room. This room is about 2% lower, okay? Still above 40, that's ideal, okay? And below 60 would be great. At 50, it's kind of a little muggy, you know? It's kind of like, you know, but I mean, hey, it's good for the guitars, right? And nothing wrong with a bit of humidity anyway. So I try to keep it, you know, preferably between the 40 and 60 area, right? Summertime, I try and keep it into the 50s type of thing, and that's usually pretty idealistic, okay? The other solution too is what you can do is for those of you who have different heating systems, so not in floor, but you have like forced air or wood heating or whatever, you can leave those guitars in those heating systems in cases if you want to, okay? Especially if you don't want to hang them on the wall and you don't want to leave them on a stand, right? You can definitely leave them in the case, but you're going to need a sound hole humidifier for your guitar because the wood from the hard shell case is going to suck all the humidity out of your guitar. So you got to keep humidity in your guitar, otherwise it's going to do the same thing. It's going to dry out, you're going to get fret sprout, and of course you're going to get issues with the body on acoustics. On electrics, you're mainly going to have to worry about fret sprout. That's a big thing you're going to have to worry about. And the body can move a bit and actually alter your action because even the main body on a solid body electric will move. Hollow body guitars should be treated, and semi-hollow body guitars should be treated the exact same way as an acoustic. All right, so except you can't use sound hole humidifiers in semi-hollow or hollow body guitars. So in their cases, you're going to need an in-case humidifier if you're going to leave them in the case. So that's a little bit different than this sort of thing. Now this has a dual purpose though, this style, if you can use one, because not all sound holes are the same. But if you do have a guitar that will use this D'Addario puck, as I like to call it, it also doubles as a feedbacker. So that you can go to higher volumes even in a room this size and get no feedback until a certain point, of course. Anything's going to feedback at a certain point. But this will allow you to play even louder if you want to with no feedback. And on stage, even in a larger venue area, you're going to be able to crank the levels up higher and not get feedback, which is kind of nice. Or you'll have a reduced chance of feedback. You still got to keep your distance from your amplifier or your speakers regardless, right? But it also can quiet your guitar down a bit. So if you want to play a little quieter, just pop it in. You know, it's an acoustic, so it's still going to make noise. Okay, so then when you take it out, different, right? Okay, so let's talk about stands. What about stands? Well, stands have their good points and bad points. If the neck support of the stand is up too high, even on an acoustic, you're still sitting at an angle on that stand, and it can put a lot of unnecessary force into this area being on a stand. And with an electric, you're going to get the same sort of thing. Electrics weigh a lot more than acoustics, so you're putting a lot more pressure. So what you want to do is if you are going to use a stand, get the neck support part of the stand as close as you can get it to the heel. That's the best, okay? If not, then I would switch to an A-frame stand that has no neck support. It just supports the body. Now, not all acoustics, mind you, are going to be friendly with those A-frame stands because, for example, this Taylor, okay, it has an arch back to it. Same as the white Court I had, has an arch back. These are not A-frame friendly stands for those kind of guitars, right? So don't want to use one of those. You're best to use a normal stand in that case. So you've got some limitations depending on your guitar, but if you've got a flat back guitar, by all means, use your normal stand. Or you could use an A-frame stand if you can't get a regular stand to get down close into the heel area. Because you want to keep as much pressure, like I said, off as possible from the higher ends, because then this way you won't have to worry about weight issues in the long haul, okay? Now, I know a lot of people have been using stands for years. They never thought of this. They put it up way up high because they figured that was the best support. It really isn't. It's the lower the better is actually the best spot, okay? So, your cases, like I said, your case is an option, you know. If you have like general, you know, heat registers, if you have electric heat in the house, you know, baseboard heating, just keep the guitars away from heat registers, whether it's an electric baseboard heater or the heat register from a forced air furnace. Keep your guitars well away from those particular registers because they pour out a lot of heat into the room when the furnace is running. So if you have a register system in your studio or play area, okay, there are little devices that you can sit over top the register to redirect the airflow so it doesn't come straight up, it'll go straight across, okay? And then the hot air can rise from that point. That would be a solution for floor registers, okay? For your electric heaters, you don't want to hang a guitar above an electric heater because that heater is in its hottest area and it's moving it straight up the wall first, okay, because it's radiant heat, but still pushing it straight up the wall first. You don't want your guitars hanging in that area. You're going to dry them out no matter how you control the humidity. So you've got to kind of be strategic in how you do things, okay, with your guitars and where you place them and so on, okay. Now, the ultimate best way to store a guitar, in my personal opinion, is actually on the wall. It's the best for the guitar, and it's also the safest. So when you're talking about kids in the house, your family pets, case is a great idea. It keeps them away from it, right? So that's kind of a good thing. You put a lock on your case and your kid won't get inside it. When it comes to the stands, though, any stand situation anywhere in the house, if you have kids or animals, one or the other or both, your guitars are in severe danger, okay? Because kids don't know any better, and they run around the house and crash, boom, and there goes your guitar, okay? On the wall, things are safe, okay? Little kids cannot reach up high enough, okay, to get the thing off the wall, all right? Anyways, that's, to me, the safest ultimately is actually on the wall. And in my opinion, it's also the best for the guitar because now you don't have to worry about any kind of angled weight going against the neck or anything. It's all been pinched off at the neck, actually the headstock, and all that weight goes down on. And some guy asked, you know, is this harmful to the guitar for the hook to be here and all that weight? Because I mean, let's face it, Les Pauls are heavy. You know, they're average about 8 to 10 pounds, some probably a couple more, you know. Other guitars too, you know, can be very heavy, right? And is this bad for the guitar? Nope, music stores have been doing it for decades. Never hurt one guitar yet. However, what you gotta watch though on any guitar when you're hanging it is, and on stands too, by the way, stands are another biggie, okay, is this area here. So whether it's being hung up on the wall, on a wall hook, or it's resting against here, you got to make sure it's a nitro friendly finish type material. So if you have a guitar that has nitro cellulose finish on it, you have to be very critical about that, because nitro doesn't actually 100% cure. It always has some malleability to it. Now, I bought a hook that was supposed to be, according to what I was told anyways, nitro friendly, because when I went and spent all the money on this Les Paul, I was very particular with the sales guy, and I said, look, I need a nitro friendly hook, you know. Oh, well, this one is nitro friendly. Now, it doesn't say it on the pack, but he said he knew, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll trust you. You know, you said it was. Well, apparently he was wrong. If you look at the neck in here, at the headstock, on this area, as well as in here, that is the nitro finish that's now gotten wrecked, because it turns out this hook was not nitro friendly. So, hence, I'm not a very happy camper about that, but on the other hand, I also did not buy this guitar to keep it pristine, okay? And it doesn't affect the playing any because of where it is. So even if I'm back here, you know, I'm nowhere near this area, but it still continually irks me a little bit, because it's like, you know, the sales guy should have known well enough that if it was nitro-friendly hook or not, for sure, right? Personally, I think the manufacturers of these things need to put a little label on there saying nitrocellulose friendly, okay? So otherwise, how do you really know? You know, you got to be educated enough to know the materials that are out there to know if they're friendly or not. And I kind of trusted him at that, and yep, apparently he was wrong. But I mean, I'm not going to squirm about it, you know, to him or anything. And you know, it's just, people do make mistakes. It's not a critical thing to me. And like I said, I didn't buy my guitars to keep them pristine. If that was the case, I would have a lot of glass cases with guitars that never get played. Okay? If you've seen the movie Wayne's World 2, where he saw that beautiful Strat, the oh, okay, that thing was kept in a glass case. Not to stay pristine per se, but also to keep people's hands on it, I guess, because of the price or whatever. I don't know. I don't really care. It's a cool movie, though. But, yeah, that is one thing about nitro finish. It is very beautiful, and it's polishes up nice all the time, and, you know, it's really nice finish. So I'm quite happy with the guitar, and I kind of like the nitro thing as far as that goes. But what I didn't like I said, was the hook thing. I was sold the wrong hook. A little disappointed on that, but it happens. It's the way it goes. Now, my other guitars, of course, are not nitro, and I've had like 0 issues, and that's fine. Even this Les Paul here, this is an Epiphone Les Paul, and even it's not a nitro finish, and 0 issues. My Strats, no issues, etc., okay? So if you're going to hang them up and you have a nitro finish, if you don't know if you have a nitro finish, find out before you decide to hang that guitar on the wall, so that you make sure you get the appropriate hook. Same as with your stand, like I said. When you buy your stands, not all these stands, even though stands are cheap, not all of them are nitro friendly, okay? So you have to be cautious about that to make sure, because of that neck support area, you know, the back of your neck is just all that weight sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. It can push in on that finish, and it's just the way it goes. So in a sense, to me, I don't think that, you know, as nice as nitro finish looks, I think it's kind of a stupid thing, considering the kind of things we have to watch out for and be careful with a nitro finish guitar. It's just stupid. It's ludicrous. But it's the way things are, and what do you do, right? Anyways, yeah, you could strip the whole finish off and redo it, but yeah, too much work. Forget it. But anyway, hopefully this answered you guys' questions, and I wanted to go into some in-depth detail about this as well, so that you had a good understanding about how different heating systems work, humidity, and so on and so on. And of course, you know, hanging them up versus stands, safety differences, and so on. So your safest is in the case, depending on your heating system in your house. And if you're going to keep any guitar in a case, period, it needs a humidifier pack of some sort. Or in the case of an acoustic, one of these is great, you know, because you got to keep that balanced. Otherwise, it dries out, right? Causes problems. If you're going to keep them on the wall, which is actually your ultimate safe, right, then again, you have to keep your house climatized no matter what anyways. But keep them away from, you know, heat registers from forced air heating, or put a redirect, okay, vent over top, and definitely at least 3 feet minimum off the floor level, either way. And if you have electric registers, you know, for electric heat, definitely keep them away from that area of that heater. Okay, don't put any guitars within at least 3 feet of each side of one of those heaters, okay? Otherwise, you can cause problems because it's a lot of heat that pours out in order to heat a room. So you want to be very careful and mindful about that. So, and of course, we've talked about, you know, the different finishes with the safety concern of nitro for sure. Other finishes have never been affected, to my knowledge, with anybody or myself. And my Les Paul, my Gibson, was the first one I've ever had with a nitro finish. And yep, I've learned something about that. And so I thought I'd pass that along to you guys. So anyways, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, got a lot out of it. If you have any other kind of questions or whatever, you know, feel free to ask, and I'll do the best I can to answer them as usual. And as usual, we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.